You're listening to the Cool Audio Podcast, your escape into the world of stories, sounds, and imagination. Whether you're driving, chilling at home, or just need a moment to unplug, we've got a story just for you. So sit back, relax, and let the journey begin.
Mom, please don't say it. You'll be fine. This is a minor illness. I studied medicine and I know your condition very well. Stella will wake up too.
Jack was a man of few words and didn't know how to comfort people. Hearing the instructions from his mother-in-law, he almost shed tears.
Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll have a good rest.
Finally, she fell into deep sleep. Thomas, you don't need to go to the company for the near future.
But can you manage all the work, brother-in-law?
After Stella fell into a coma, the work in the company had piled up. Now, with Thomas absent, Jack would be overwhelmed. It's fine. Avery will return tomorrow. I'll ask her to help me. Okay, I'll stay here to take care of my mom and wife. Take care of them and leave everything else to me, Jack instructed. Okay, brother-in-law. Another thing, try not to contact your sister in the near future.
Huh?
Thomas was puzzled. You sister and I are handling some personal business between us. I don't think she'll come. If she contacts you, tell her you don't have time to see her. Fine, you guys take care. Thomas didn't know what their personal business was, but he trusted Jack completely and agreed to do what Jack told him. At the headquarters of Fiona's Mercenary Legion. Ever since Riker came here, he had had few nights of good sleep. In fact, ever since Fiona disappeared, he hadn't had a full night's sleep. Together with the subordinates who had chosen to stay, he was searching for her all over the world. Whenever he heard someone looking like Fiona appeared, he'd go immediately and do an investigation. But many days passed, and he hadn't gotten a clue of her whereabouts, which made him more uneasy each day. Mr. Riker, what's up? You have a visitor. One of Fiona's subordinates, who were now Riker's subordinates, led a person into Riker's office. The person wore plain clothes and a cap, looking like an ordinary old man. But when he took off his cap, Riker was stunned. Uncle Wagner. Riker was quite emotional when he saw the professor. In the past years, he had known from rumors and the things he had witnessed that Professor Wagner was the most capable guy he had ever seen. His abilities included his unbelievable medical skills, which could almost bring a person back to life, and his amazing scientific intellect. Even Fiona was no match for her father. Sit down, Riker. Uncle Wagner, I've been looking for you. I know. I was being followed a few days ago and had to block all electronic signals. When I heard you took over Fiona's Mercenary Legion, I hurried over to see you. Uncle Wagner, I didn't mean to take it for myself. Riker tried to explain to Professor Wagner that he didn't do it to take possession of Fiona's lifetime work. You don't have to explain. I've watched you grow up, and I know more than anyone else what kind of person you are. Hearing Professor Wagner's compliment and trust, Riker felt much better. Come into the secret chamber. We'll talk in there. Professor Wagner pressed on a special button in the office and opened the secret chamber. This was a chamber full of anti-bugging devices, and no hackers could break in. Obviously, Professor Wagner would tell Riker something highly secretive, and he didn't want anyone else to hear it. Riker followed Professor Wagner into the secret chamber, and then Professor Wagner closed the door behind them. The chamber was only 40 square meters in size, but it was renovated luxuriously like an antique tea room. The tea table was made of Hainan yellow rosewood. Professor Wagner took a seat while Riker sat across from him. You still don't have any news about Fiona, right? No, Professor Wagner nodded. Uncle Wagner, do you know where Fiona is? I know she's not dead. Riker was afraid to hear bad news about Fiona from the professor. Don't worry. The girl is tough, and I'm sure she's not dead. I guess I know who took her. With his head lowered, Professor Wagner said slowly, Who? Riker stood up in excitement, eager to go to her rescue right now. No matter who had her, even if she was in the space, he'd bring her back. Sit down, Riker, listen to me. Professor Wagner gestured to him to calm down. About 10 seconds later, the professor said slowly, I think Fiona is very probably in Lynn's hands. Lynn? Riker thought the name sounded quite familiar. Before he could put more thoughts to it, Professor Wagner continued, Lynn is my wife, Fiona and Chloe's mother. Oh.
Riker was stunned. He suddenly remembered that he had heard this name from Fiona. Fiona made a secret trip to Iceland almost each year. She even didn't dare to enter the cave because she was afraid someone would follow her and destroy her mother's ice coffin. She went all the way there just to look at the cave from the distance. She regarded it as a visit to her mother. In Fiona's heart, Lynn was sacred. She loved her mother very much. Even though there was no photo of Lynn in the whole world, Fiona had a sketch of her mother. This was Fiona's secret and the biggest secret that Riker knew about her. However tough Fiona was, she was still a young girl, especially before her parents. Losing her mother at an early age, she had a strong sense of insecurity. Chloe's childhood was different because she grew up with her adoptive mother and had lived with her stepfather for a few years, so she had parents' love in her childhood. In contrast, Fiona had run all over the world from their enemies since she was only a few years old. With her mother's absence, she had felt helpless and frantic when her first period came. She had thought she had internal wounds when she saw so much blood coming out of her. Nothing could compensate for the confusion she had felt. So Professor Wagner and Riker both knew what Lynn meant to Fiona. Uncle Wagner, but I think Aunt Lynn has been gone for many years. Yeah. When Lynn was wounded, I performed the surgery on her, but her brain was dead. I refused to admit defeat and put her in the ice coffin while I tried to find a way to bring her back to life, but I failed. Then how could she— Riker was confused. If Uncle Wagner couldn't resurrect Lynn, then how could she take Fiona? Was she a ghost? I don't know how, but I have a feeling that Lynn has probably woken up with some method I don't know about. Professor Wagner and Lynn had been together for years and had that subtle connection with each other, but Riker was totally confused. Uncle Wagner, Aunt Lynn is your wife. If she wakes up, she should come to see you as soon as possible, right? Why did she take Fiona and not allow her to contact us? Maybe someone threatened her. You don't know how complicated our circle is. Professor Wagner and Dr. Lynn enjoyed honors, but were also targets of many ambitious people. Professor Wagner was still running from those people. What shall we do now? Keep searching for her. I'll give you several locations where I think Lynn might appear at. Keep me updated. Okay. I have a feeling that Lynn will contact me soon, Professor Wagner guessed. Uncle Wagner, about Sister Chloe. Don't disturb Chloe. I don't want to drag Chloe into this mess. Professor Wagner thought Chloe was safe and didn't want her to get involved in Fiona's trouble. He didn't know she had also been taken. But my brother-in-law has been trying to contact you. I can't contact him now. His communication is now fully monitored. I don't know who is doing this, but I must be extra careful. Is it so bad? Riker felt the situation was getting even more tricky. Fortunately, Professor Wagner had appeared, and Riker thought he'd find Fiona's whereabouts soon. In the palace on the bottom of the ocean on the other side of the earth. Faced with Chloe's sharp question, Lynn fell silent. Chloe couldn't imagine why her mother would clone herself. What was her purpose? But Lynn didn't intend to answer this question. Chloe, you'll stay here for a long time. I'll explain to you little by little. There's no rush. No, I want to go home. Chloe stood up with her big belly. Chloe, do you think that home needs you? Layla has completely replaced you. No one realized that you are missing. No one. Hearing the distinct words from Lynn, Chloe felt uneasy. She knew Layla's abilities and how much Layla resembled her. No, my daughters and my husband will see she's not me. Watch this. Lynn waved her smooth hand and a scene appeared on the white wall. On the screen, Jack and Chloe were having breakfast with the two kids. It was a cozy sight. Chloe's heart ached slightly. After that explosion, no one remembers you. Their Chloe is back. Look, even the man you've loved deeply for years can't even see the difference. He even slept with Layla. Your man betrayed you both physically and spiritually. Shut up. Chloe looked back at her with red-rimmed eyes. She glared at Lynn and said hoarsely, Jack wouldn't do it. He's not like that. I don't believe he touched Layla. Then you can have a look at this. With a creepy smile, Lynn changed the scene on the screen. Lynn had purposefully chosen from the photos that Layla had transmitted to her. In this photo, Layla made to hug Jack. Jack's expression was unreadable. But the scene in the photo was quite suggestive. You want to fool me with an edited photo? Chloe sneered. You yourself is a good hacker and you know the photo isn't edited. Chloe, stop deceiving yourself. Those ordinary people don't deserve to have you. Stay with Mom. Stay with me. I don't understand. Are you truly my mother? With her hand on her belly, Chloe shed tears of frustration. Mothers are supposed to do things for the happiness of their children. But what did you do? You claimed to be my mother but made a weirdo resembling me. You had the weirdo sneak into my beloved home to replace me and fool my family. You watched me suffer. You don't deserve to be my mother. You're not even 1/10,000th as good as my adoptive mother. Lynn, if you're truly Lynn, I think my dad was blind to fall in love with someone as horrible as you. Chloe berated Lynn without mercy. She was a mild-tempered woman and respected her adoptive mother and mother-in-law, but today she berated her biological mother with such severe words, which showed how frustrated she was with Lynn. Thinking that weirdo living in her home with her family, her heart ached. Her biggest worry wasn't that the woman would sleep with Jack, but that she might hurt her 2 daughters at any time. I know you don't understand me and blame me, but it doesn't matter. You'll know I'm doing it for your own sake. Mom doesn't blame you, Chloe. Mom doesn't blame you. Surprisingly, Lynn wasn't angry. Instead, she looked at Chloe benignly like Mother Teresa. Chloe almost vomited in disgust at this sight. Don't mention the word Mom in front of me. You don't deserve it. Chloe stared at Lynn. Messiah. Master. Take her to get some rest. Yes. Miss Chloe, let's go. Chloe knew Lynn wouldn't tell her all the truth in one session, no matter how much she wanted the answers. It was better to rest well and find a way to get out of here. The priority was protecting the baby in her belly and then finding a way to get out of here and return to her beloved family. On her way back to her room, Chloe was silent and dispirited. Miss Chloe, please don't talk back to the master like this in the future. In the past years, I've never seen anyone daring to speak to her like this. No one could do this and live. If not for her love for you, you'd probably have... Messiah didn't continue, but Chloe knew what she meant. She had been lucky that nothing happened to her after berating that woman. Messiah, Layla is a clone she made, right? After seeing Lynn in the cave, Chloe had guessed the identity of Layla who resembled her. Yeah, Miss Layla was cloned with your cells. You two are closer than twins. In other words, she's a copy of you, Messiah said slowly. But why did she create this weirdo? Chloe had a cold expression on her face the whole time. What she had seen was against all the things she believed. The person who claimed to be her mother created a weirdo resembling her and ordered the weirdo to sabotage her family. In fact, Messiah paused. Chloe knew that she was only a maid and didn't want to make things difficult for her. Messiah, I won't force you to say anything you can't say. I understand, she whispered to Messiah. It's not that. In fact, I witnessed how the Master created Miss Layla. You might not believe it, but the Master created Miss Layla due to her missing you on your birthday many years ago. She created Miss Layla so she'd have a daughter to keep her company. But later... Obviously, Messiah didn't dare to tell her what happened later. What was Lynn's purpose? There must be a huge conspiracy working in secret. But Chloe felt Messiah was telling the truth. If she missed me, why didn't she go and find me? Why did she create a weirdo? I don't understand her logic. She couldn't do it. Like your father, she wanted a peaceful and happy life for you. Then why did she disturb my life now? She even let that weirdo replace me? Suppressing her fury, she questioned Messiah. It's because Master's dream is about to come true. Her big plans. Big plans? Chloe knew her conjecture was right. Lynn had cloned herself and let the clone stay with her husband. Then she hid in the palace on the bottom of the ocean. Of course, she wasn't down here to cultivate. She must have been scheming something. What was she scheming about then? Chloe felt her mind boggled at the question. Messiah, she cloned me because she missed me. Then how about Fiona? Does she have a clone too? Is there a girl resembling Fiona? Chloe was afraid to imagine this scenario. Fiona was very powerful by herself. If she had a clone, what would it be like? Miss Fiona doesn't have a clone because she's not the Master's daughter. What are you talking about? Messiah, Fiona's my biological sister. How come she's not Lynn's daughter? I think the master didn't tell you, Miss Fiona. Is your sister from a different mother? Different mother? How can it be? Messiah, are you kidding with me? Chloe found it unbelievable. No, I don't dare to joke about it. It's true, Messiah said earnestly. But Chloe just couldn't imagine how… Different mothers? Did it mean her father had another wife? Impossible. It just didn't make sense. It went against all the things Chloe had known. Suddenly, an idea dawned on Chloe. It was a horrible idea. Agitated and nervous, she caught Messiah's hand and asked, Messiah, do you mean my sister Fiona is Lynn's clone's daughter? Seeing Chloe finally made the connection, Messiah nodded slightly. Chloe felt her mind went blank. How many years did Lynn's clone live with her father? How could a genius like her father not discover she was an imposter and even have Fiona with her? Then, would Jack not be able to see Layla was an imposter and have a baby with that weirdo? At this thought, Chloe felt cold all over and didn't dare to think further along the line. At the Chase family's house, Zuri and Case came back from a business banquet. Zuri was driving a black Porsche Panamera, and Case sat in the passenger seat since he had drunk some wine. He placed his hand on Zuri's thigh, which was an intimate gesture. After getting back together with Zuri, Case had worked harder. Without using the Blake family's help, he brought his almost broken company back on track and even made it larger than before. Despite his busy schedule, he always found time to spend with Zuri. Obviously, the things filtered by time were always the best. Case understood this and cherished his time with Zuri. Hun, are you tired? Do you want me to drive? No, we'll be home in a few minutes. You drank wine, so it's safer for me to drive. Zuri smiled at him. Getting home, he took off his jacket and bundled it around Zuri. I don't need it. Is it really so cold? You'd better keep warm. Your suit sleeves are short. Your arms are exposed. They are 3/4 sleeves, Zuri explained in exasperation. Let's enter the house. I asked the housemaid to make tremella lotus seed soup. Eat it while it's warm. Okay. Feeling cherished, Zuri walked into the house with his arm around her shoulders. The housemaid placed bowls of tremella lotus seed soup on the tea table in the living room. Case picked up the remote control and found the financial channel to watch news. Remembering something, Zuri tugged at Case's sleeve and asked, Hun, did you notice something weird? What's it? Mr. Cooper is often seen with Sister Chloe. That's normal. Chloe is Mr. Cooper's goddess. Case didn't think it was something out of the ordinary. That's true, but they are seen together much more frequently than before. They have eaten together for several times now. Sister Chloe even posted photos of them on her moments. You're right, this isn't Chloe's style, but I heard she and Mr. Cooper have changed a bit after coming back from Yunnan. Maybe they are cherishing their current life after surviving that explosion. I hope so, but doesn't Sister Chloe's husband mind it? They are together so frequently. Zuri could see something weird was going on by looking at Chloe's moments, but it wasn't their business, and Zuri just commented about it with Case in private. The first hospital. Jack picked up the twins from the school and brought them directly to the hospital to see their grandma. Many medical staff in the hospital had been Chloe's colleagues or subordinates, and they were happy to see the kids. Some doctors on duty even bought them snacks, milk, and toys. It showed how the staff liked Chloe. The twins thanked them politely and took the toys after gaining their father's permission. Thank you, Auntie. You're welcome. The two kids are so cute. They are even more beautiful than before. Oh, by the way, where's Vice Director Green? How come we haven't seen her in the past couple of days? A doctor asked casually. After all, Chloe's mother and sister-in-law were staying in the hospital, but she hadn't shown her face yet. It was natural for them to be puzzled. Oh, Chloe isn't feeling well lately. She's recovering at home. Jack gave them the excuse. President Dawson, tell us if the vice director comes to the hospital. We haven't seen her for a long while. Okay, I'll tell her. Thank you, guys. After greeting the medical staff, Jack took the twins into the ward. Thomas was cleaning Stella's face in the next room, so Sandra was alone in her ward. When the kids came in, she was watching TV. Grandma. Grandma. The two kids ran over and greeted her sweetly. Happily, Sandra sat up on the bed. Whoa, my little babies. Come and let me have a good look at you. Your grandma is sick. Be careful not to bump her infusion tube. Jack reminded them in a low voice. Got it, Daddy. Nodding, Little Bean took out a lollipop and placed it into her grandma's hand. She had just gotten it from the medical staff. Grandma, eat it. When I got sick and had an injection, Mommy gave me a candy, and it felt less painful. Smart girl, you're an eating machine, Sandra beamed happily. Grandma, do you want water? I'll get you some. Pudding discreetly offered to bring her grandma a glass of water. Grandma, how did you get sick? You must have been careless. Did you forget to wear long johns when you went out to do square dancing? Little Bean demanded, putting her little hands on her hips. Ha ha, don't make me laugh. My stomach is aching from laughing. When Little Bean opened her mouth, everyone laughed at her funny words. Jack sat on the sofa in the ward and began to handle his emails on his cell phone. Meanwhile, the kids talked to their grandma and cheered her up. When I was young, I wanted to look pretty and didn't wear long johns, but I'm old and have to wear it every day. Pudding walked to the end of the bed and pulled up the covering gently. Grandma, are your legs sore after lying down for so long? I can massage them for you. It's not necessary. My babies, I'm so happy to see you. You don't have to do anything for me. I know you are thoughtful girls. With one hand attached to the injection tube, Sandra used the other hand to caress Pudding's head and Little Bean's cheeks. It was truly a happy moment for her. At supper time, the caretaker brought her a nutritious meal, and she had a better appetite than before. The kids kept her happy by singing English songs and dancing ballet. At about 7 p.m., the kids got a bit sleepy. Jack stood up and said, Mom, we'll go home now. We'll come and see you again in a couple of days. Okay, be careful with driving. The road is slippery, Sandra instructed. Okay, I will. As Jack walked out of the ward, Little Bean suddenly asked a strange question. Daddy, how come the new grandpa isn't here to take care of Grandma? Isn't he Grandma's husband? I guess that grandpa fled after he learned that Grandma is sick. I don't think he's trustworthy, said Pudding with her head lowered. Yeah, he traveled to a distant place and hasn't come back yet, Jack explained vaguely to the kids. Daddy, I like this Grandma, and the grandpa in the States, said Little Bean. Rarely, Pudding nodded her agreement to her sister. Daddy, when will that grandpa come and see us again? In fact, she was thinking if this capable grandpa came to visit them, he might be able to see through this weird mommy at their home. I guess that grandpa of yours will come very soon. Jack had a feeling that if this was truly a huge conspiracy, then Professor Wagner would show up in the end, since the situation was beyond Jack's abilities. Even a figure as capable as Fiona had disappeared mysteriously in Yunnan after the big explosion. How powerful was the force that could make Fiona vanish into thin air? No one could imagine it. But Jack knew these people were extraordinary. Ever since he and Rick found out the patron behind Zoe was related to the Doomsday Death God, he had been worried. In the past years, the Doomsday Death God had only been a legend that no one had seen. The only token Jack had from them was the lighter that a mysterious woman gave to him 4 years ago in the States. Did it mean that they had targeted him 4 years ago? The more he thought about it, the more unsettled he felt. Preoccupied in his thoughts, he didn't even hear the twins' questions. At the headquarters of Imperial Star, Justin had worked late and hosted a high-level executive meeting. When he ended the meeting, it was 8 p.m. At the first floor, he bumped into Melody. You worked so late? Justin was puzzled. Spicy hot pot, do you want to eat it with me? Spicy hot pot? Justin looked puzzled. Yeah, I danced late tonight. My agent said you worked late too. I guess you and Anne haven't had supper yet. Let's go and eat spicy hot pot. A new restaurant opened across the street and the food there is superb. They ship hot peppers by air. The owner is from Sichuan. Obviously, she hoped Justin could eat with her. And chuckled and said, you two go ahead and eat it. I can't have spicy food because of my weak stomach. I want to eat rugamo. I'll drive to the commercial square and have rugamo. Okay, come back to pick me up when you're done. Justin gave in the car keys and walked with Melody to the spicy hot pot restaurant she had mentioned. In fact, young girls loved this kind of food, but it wasn't to Justin's taste. He had agreed to eat with her because they had company at the elevator bank on the first floor. If he refused, she'd look bad in front of the others. The restaurant was crowded, but they found a table for two in a corner. Melody asked in high spirits. Boss Cooper, what do you want to eat? Anything is fine. You choose. Justin seldom ate this and didn't know what to choose. Melody went to the food zone and chose lots of vegetables. Considering Justin loved meat, she added lots of meat onto the platter. At the cashier, she found it cost $98. She bought 2 bottles of a famous sour and sweet local beverage. Altogether, it cost $102. When Melody returned to the table, Justin said feelingly, Am I falling behind the times? I thought a spicy hot pot cost a few bucks for one big bowl of it, but you spent more than $100 on it? Haha, how many years has passed since you last ate it? A few bucks was the price from more than 10 years ago, I think. Melody mocked him. Justin looked embarrassed. How was the sushi you had with Sister Chloe today? Melody asked casually. Very good. The food tasted just like those I had in Osaka. I'll take you to eat it another day, Justin said casually as he browsed the moments on his cell phone. But Melody felt sweet and blushed a bit. As they ate, 2 girls who were about 18 years old walked over from the next table. No signatures, no photos, Justin intoned. He had lots of girl fans, which was why he seldom ate in such low-end restaurants. Usually he ate with friends in compartments. In the past, he had gone to eat in Ashin's ramen several times as a way to get to know Chloe. Once he was surrounded by a group of girls in the restaurant who demanded to have his signature and take photos with him. They even tore open the short sleeve of his new Armani shirt. From then on, Justin decided he'd play a cold guy and reject all their requests. But to his surprise, the 2 girls ignored him and said to Melody politely, Wow, Melody, you're so pretty. Your face is tiny. We're fans of your dance show. We're students from the Dancing Academy. The dances you did on the show are so difficult, but you performed them perfectly. We like you. Thank you, Melody answered politely. Can we take a photo with you? Of course. Wow, you're awesome. The 2 girls each took a picture with Melody and walked off cheerfully. Justin looked embarrassed. Melody didn't know what to say. She was afraid President Cooper would be so offended that he'd leave in a huff. Waiter, where's my spicy hot pot? Justin yelled. Right away. Then a waiter brought 2 bowls of steaming spicy food. Justin buried his face in the bowl to hide his embarrassment. Looking at his cute expression, Melody almost laughed out loud. Take it slow, it's super spicy. The moment she said it, Justin felt the strong stimulation on his taste buds. Hiss. Water. Give me water. With a chopstick, Melody popped open the iron cap of the soda with a dashing move. She handed it to Justin. He gulped down 2 big mouthfuls and relieved the spiciness on his tongue. Hey, the way you popped open the cap. It looks super dashing, right? Melody looked smug. Yeah. Can you open beer bottles with it? Of course. I learned it from my dad. When he did it, I thought it was super dashing and begged him to teach me. Melody looked proud. Teach me, Justin demanded aggressively. Okay, pay me. You're such a money lover. You can't stop talking about money. Justin was exasperated. If you don't pay, you can call me Guru and I'll teach you. You're shameless. You want me to call you Guru? Amused, Justin looked at the reckless young girl sitting across from him. If you call me Guru, I can be shameless for a moment. Melody was quick with her retort. Forget it. Justin lowered his head to continue eating his spicy food. With a sly look on her face, Melody picked up her bottle of soda and did another excellent performance with a chopstick. With a pop, she opened the cap. He didn't even see how she did it. Justin looked at her again with admiration in his eyes. I'll send you an $88 red packet. Teach me, he bargained. Sly businessman. You want to learn this skill for only $88? Nice try. Melody was even more smug. I'll add $10.98. Is it a deal? Puh, my great president and big boss, you're offering only $98? I despise you. No, I won't teach you. Whoa, little girl, you're bold, huh? Now that you're famous and have fans, you dare to work against me, right? Be careful, or I'd make things hard for you. Justin reached out and flicked his finger on her head, feeling as if he was playing with a child. Melody's heart flipped as she watched his childish and cute behavior. Make things hard for me? Bring it on. You're welcome to try. Justin chuckled, feeling comfortable with her since she spoke whatever was on her mind. In front of her, he didn't have to put on the pretentious face of a big boss. and wasn't worried that he'd offend her with some accidental comments. He felt light-hearted when he was with her. In a light mood, Justin had a good appetite. He finished his own bowl of spicy food and took some from Melody's bowl. After the meal, they walked toward her dorm building. Justin sent a message to An, telling him to pick him up at her dorm. As they walked, Melody thought of the incident during the day and asked, "President Cooper, Sister Chloe comes to see you quite frequently." "Yeah, Chloe is acting weird lately." "Is something troubling Sister Chloe?" Melody thought Chloe wasn't someone who'd seek Justin's company so often. She was always careful to avoid misunderstandings and gossip. "Yeah, it seems she's in a cold war with Jack." "Impossible. President Dawson is famous for his devotion to his wife." Melody was surprised. Justin looked uneasy. "It's probably because too many things have happened lately. No matter how talented they are still humans with emotions and desires. The loss of the baby is a big blow for them. Jack is sad. Chloe feels bad too. With them both in foul moods, it's natural for them to fight. It'll be fine. I'll try my best to comfort her." I wonder if President Dawson would feel uncomfortable seeing you and Sister Chloe are so close." Melody was worried. After all, Justin was a public figure, and many paparazzi liked to take his pictures. If someone took pictures of him and Chloe together and spread gossip about them, they might end up in a mess. Chloe used to be extra careful with it and seldom spent time with Justin alone. But now, for some reason, she kept seeking out Justin. Even Melody was puzzled about it. However, Justin was preoccupied in his guilt and didn't think Chloe's behavior was weird. They came to the entrance of the dorm building. "Go in now. Don't stand here. It's cold outside," Justin said. "Did you like the spicy hot pot?" Melody looked up at Justin and her heart flipped. "Not bad." "Then I'll take you there for meals often. My treat," said Melody. With an embarrassed look, he changed the subject. "Are you ready for the cuisine reality show?" "I'm still learning. I heard we'll shoot the first season in Thailand. Isn't it nice? You can have a tour for free." Justin chuckled. "Then I won't be here for 1 week." "Yeah, thank goodness. I'll have some quiet time with you absent for 1 week. No one will bicker with me." "I'll be out of the country for 1 week. Will you miss me a little bit?" Boldly, Melody asked Justin. Sure enough, Justin reddened when he heard Melody's question. "It's late. Go to your room, and we'll come in a minute." Justin didn't answer her question since he didn't know how to respond to girls' attention to him. He seemed to have forgotten how skillful he had been at seducing girls before he met Chloe. When Anne caught up with him, he had walked for about 1 kilometer. He had walked away from Melody, who'd sometimes surprise him with a bold question. He just didn't know how to answer these questions. "President Cooper, how was your supper with Miss Melody?" Anne was curious. "It was good." "President Cooper, how many points do you give Miss Melody if the full score is 10 points? Anne asked while driving. "What points?" Justin glanced at him in puzzlement. "The point system that's quite popular online. I'm just curious." "Melody works hard, has a pretty face and a good character. If the full score is 10 points, I'll give her, 8 points. How about Dr. Green?" 10 points, Justin said without thinking. No matter how many shortcomings Chloe had, she was always the best in his eyes. "Fine, you're playing favorites. Forget it." And thought it was blatant partiality. In fact, Melody's face was way prettier than Chloe, and as a former dancing student, her figure was way sexier than Chloe's. Chloe always looked solemn while Melody was vivacious. But no matter how good Melody was, Justin didn't love her, which was the key point. Seeing his boss was still in love with Dr. Green, Anne didn't say more about the topic. He had wanted to bring Melody and his boss together, but it seemed like the cause was hopeless since his boss had no interest in her. In Noah's home. After James's death, Noah had thought the vampire case was over and he could go on a vacation with his wife and son. However, a similar case happened again. At 7 p.m., a kindergarten reported 2 5-year-old kids missing, 1 girl and 1 boy. He pulled out the surveillance videos but found nothing. In this boarding kindergarten, the kids' parents were too busy to take care of them, so they lived in the school during the weekdays and went home only for weekends. During the shower time in the evening, The teachers taking care of them found 2 kids were missing. They looked for them everywhere but couldn't find them. Alarmed, they reported it to their chief, who then called the police. According to the regulations, the police usually didn't file a report for people missing for less than 24 hours. But Noah put special attention to the report since it involved missing children again. He remembered how the parents cried their eyes out when their children's bodies were taken out of the lake. He wondered if the 2 kids went missing because they lost their way, got kidnapped by human traffickers, or some other reason. He searched for them with a team for most of the night, but found nothing. When he drove home in frustration, his son had gone to bed. Sarah was sitting on the sofa with crossed legs, looking displeased. "Hun, you're still up? Chief-Ace, you must keep your promise. When are you going to take me and Ethan for a vacation?" Sarah demanded with a dark expression. Hearing his wife's demand, Noah licked his dry lips guiltily. Taking off his jacket, he sat down beside her and threw an arm around her shoulders. Sarah shrugged his arm off, showing her displeasure for his late return. "Honorable, listen to me." "I don't want to listen. I'll just ask you, are we going for a vacation or not?" Sarah was frustrated. She had thought Noah would be less busy after he was promoted to be the bureau chief, but she was surprised that Noah was even busier than before since he dealt with many cases in person. Sarah knew he worked so hard not because he wanted to be promoted to a higher position, but because he loved his job. When he was still in high school, Noah had set the goal of becoming a policeman just like his father. His ambition wasn't as noble as serving people, but he wanted to get rid of criminals who harmed innocent people. After he was promoted, he had less time to go out with his family during the weekends, not to mention taking his wife and son to see the aurora borealis in northern Europe or vacation in Hawaii as other families did. Ethan was still young and didn't complain, but Sarah was resentful. She envied other women whose husbands spent lots of time with them. "Of course, I promised you and I'll keep my promise." "When?" Sarah asked immediately. After the current case, okay?" Noah felt guilty. "Another case. Do you live your life with cases or with me? Have you forgotten you have a family?" "Of course not. Sarah, don't be angry. You must understand me." Noah felt helpless. After all, someone must do the work. Hearing his words, Sarah got even more furious. Standing up abruptly, she pointed at him and said with red-rimmed eyes, "Noah, ever after I married you, how much concession have I made for you? Don't you know? When other women enjoyed steaks with roses in their arms on Valentine's Day, you were working overtime. When other couples watched movies to celebrate Women's Day, you were working overtime. When other couples cuddled together during wedding anniversaries, you were still working overtime. You even came back late in the night on my birthday after the cake melted and dishes went cold. How many times were you still working overtime in the bureau while I drove our feverish son to the hospital in the middle of the night? You're the busiest man in the world, huh? Are you the President of the United States or the UN chairman?" Sarah exploded with all the frustrations that had been suppressed in her heart like a volcano. Noah felt bad. He understood his wife's frustration, but what could he do? Did she want him to be a bureau chief who only drew salaries but did no work? It wasn't his style. Woken up by their argument, Ethan walked out groggily. "Mom, Dad, are you fighting?" Sarah turned her head away with red-rimmed eyes and didn't speak. Lovingly, Noah picked up his son and kissed him. "It's fine. We're not arguing. You mom is reprimanding your dad. Your dad totally agrees with what your mom said. I think you guys should give me a younger sister." Ethan's words rendered Sarah and Noah speechless. "Who told you that?" "Grandpa and Grandma said if I have a younger sister, the atmosphere in our home will be better. Mom will be busier taking care of my sister and won't have time to think of your busy schedule." "How could your grandparents tell you this?" Sarah rolled her eyes in anger. "Ha ha! What if we give you a younger brother?" Noah laughed out loud at his son's words. "I don't want a brother. One boy is enough for our family." Obviously, Ethan didn't like younger brothers. He only wanted a younger sister. "What if we gave you a younger brother?" Interested, Noah continued to tease his son. "Then I'll toss him into the toilet. I think we won't have more babies." Noah was exasperated. "I hope you guys don't fight. Little Bean told me that if a kid grew up with arguing parents, the kid would become quick-tempered. You guys don't want me to become a hot-tempered man when I grow up, right?"
Noah, son, you're right. No, Little Bean told me this. They're reasonable words. You guys think about it. Like a little adult, Ethan eased the tension in the family. As his parents remained silent, Ethan asked, I want to pee. Can you take me to the washroom? Sarah wiped off her tears and carried her son into the washroom. Rescued by his son from his angry wife, Noah still felt heavy in heart as he read on the cell phone the latest developments of the case sent to him by his colleagues. The 2 kids were still missing. Their parents and the kindergarten still didn't receive calls for ransom. It was a bad sign. Noah picked up his cell phone and sent a few voice messages to Jack on Snap, telling him about the case. He asked finally, Jack, are you sure James is dead? Is it possible he came back to life? I think the criminal's method in this case is similar to his. In a little while, Jack typed his reply. I killed James personally and burned his body into ashes. Noah trusted Jack. When Jack said he did it, then there was no doubt of it. But if James was dead, then who took these missing children? It was really a tough question. The city, which had been peaceful for 100 years, was now full of panic. Noah wasn't concerned about the pressure from above, but he was a father and could relate to the anxiety of the parents who lost their children, which was why he worked tirelessly to crack the case. Unfortunately, he found no clues. As if the kids had been taken by a monster, there were no traces left for them to investigate. South Hill Manor. Sitting in his study, Jack had become suspicious after receiving snap messages from Noah. James was dead. It was a fact. It left only one suspect, which was the woman living in his home. She had enough time to do it, but why did she and James keep killing children in this cruel way? Jack hadn't asked James why he did it, but James was a monster who drained blood from those kids' bodies, which caused the rumors of vampires. Did it mean that this woman was also The more he thought about it, the more unsettled he felt. He opened the door and walked downstairs. Chloe had just returned with an exquisite food box in her hand. Mommy, you're back, Little Bean called out sweetly. Pudding glanced at her but didn't greet her. I saw new cakes today, so I bought some. The fun part is that one can choose ingredients and they make cakes with these ingredients. The cakes made in this way are healthier. Wow, we have goodies. Thank you, Mommy. The little eating machine Little Bean opened the food box immediately and saw colorful cakes inside. Sis, come and eat with me, she called out to Pudding. Mommy, I want to talk to you about something, Pudding looked at Chloe and said meekly. Chloe took off her jacket, hung it up, and sat down on the sofa. Go ahead, baby. My classmate's golden retriever gave birth to babies. I want to adopt one. Wow, that's a good idea. I love golden retrievers too. Little Bean was exhilarated. All kids love small animals. But Chloe's face fell. No. Why not? Mommy, you like dogs too. I like them, but they are filthy with parasites, said Chloe. It won't be filthy. We'll give it shots and baths regularly. It won't have bacteria. Forget it. I won't agree. We can't have cats or dogs in our home. I don't like them. Obviously, Chloe disliked small animals. Mommy, you used to like them. You even helped us take care of our bunny, remember? Little Bean was also sulky. It was before, not now. I've got my plate full taking care of you two. I don't have time or energy to keep pets. The 2 kids were not happy, but didn't dare to disobey her. As their grandparents were still out visiting friends, the housemaids didn't dare to intervene, knowing their young madam had the final say in the house. I'll talk to my daddy. He might agree. Displeased with Chloe's objection, Pudding didn't give up. She wanted to ask her daddy's opinion about it. Her words infuriated Chloe. Pudding, stop! As if she didn't hear Chloe's words, Pudding continued walking to the stairs. Swiftly, Chloe caught Pudding's collar and dragged her back. One had to admit this woman was very strong. Didn't you hear what I said? How could you speak to your mommy in this way? Chloe stared at her. Pudding didn't speak. She just stared at the woman before her in rebellion. You're young but have a big temper. I'll tell you, Pudding, dogs are absolutely prohibited in our home. It's useless to ask your daddy. I have the final say in this matter. How can you decide everything in the family? Because I'm your mother. My mom isn't like you. You're not like my mom. You've become horrible. I don't like you in this way. You're so selfish and cold.
Pudding exploded with all the frustrations she had held inside for days. She said these hurtful words in one breath. Chloe strode over and slapped Pudding on the face with vicious force. Her long fingernails left a bloody scratch on Pudding's cheek. Stunned, Pudding held her cheek as she stared at the woman before her, finding the woman scary and strange. Terrified, Little Bean dropped her cake. Her mother hit her sister and scratched her sister's cheek. "Sis, your face, blood." Little Bean lost the ability to form a sentence. Knowing she had overreacted, Chloe softened and said to Pudding gently, "Mommy doesn't want to hurt you. Pudding, you'll know I'm doing it for your own sake. Small animals are not as clean as you think. They'll give you lots of diseases." At this moment, Jack walked downstairs. "Pudding, come here," he said coldly. Chloe, or more accurately, Layla, looked up and was a bit nervous when she saw his icy eyes. "Daddy." Immediately, Pudding turned and ran upstairs, throwing her arms around Jack's thighs. "Hun, listen to me. I didn't mean it." Before she could finish, Jack carried Pudding into his study. Dropping her cake, Little Bean followed them. The housemaids ran from the living room too. In the study, Jack took out the first aid kit, dressed Pudding's wound, and put an ice pack on her cheek. Her small cheek had swollen under the force of the slap. Jack's heart ached to see her like this. "Daddy, I'm fine. It doesn't hurt." "You can have the puppy. I'll help you take the golden retriever back and buy a doghouse and food for it." "What about Mommy?" "Leave her to me." Pudding didn't dare to say more. After dressing the wound, Jack told the kids, "Stay in the study. I'll go and talk to her." "Daddy, don't argue with her. Our family must be harmonious." Little Bean caught her daddy's hand and instructed. "Okay, I know." Jack walked downstairs and saw Chloe was sitting on the sofa, browsing the news on her cell phone. She didn't look concerned about Pudding's wound. Seeing Jack, she put down the cell phone nervously. "Hun, how is Pudding?" "She's fine. I dressed her wound. Pudding is a child and is willful sometimes, but you're her mother. How could you be so vicious to her?" "Hun, I truly didn't mean it. I was angry and hurt her accidentally with my long fingernail. I've cut my nails. Look." Chloe raised her hands, and indeed, her long fingernails had been cut. After all, she couldn't afford to rouse Jack's suspicion and had to continue acting her part. She had been wanting to deal with those two kiddos, especially Pudding, who always tried to work against her. The pet incident just gave her an opportunity to vent her anger. She said she was sorry, but secretly she felt satisfied. "You never treated our daughters in this way." Jack looked at her and said with emphasis on each word, "But you didn't treat me so coldly before. So don't talk about the past to me," Chloe retorted. "But she's also your child." Jack said it because he didn't want her to know that he had found her out. "I know. I just wanted to give her a lesson. Having a dog is meaningless. But I agreed to have the dog. It's your compensation to your daughter. One more thing. Don't lay a finger on Pudding or Little Bean again, or I'll deal with you." Despite his fury, he didn't hit her even though he wanted to. He knew it wouldn't reflect well on him if he hit her at home. The housemaids would think he was a violent man who'd beat his wife. Jack was very smart and wouldn't ruin his reputation like this. Layla thought the incident passed and didn't take Jack's warning to heart. After talking to her, Jack drove the twins to have night snacks. Layla didn't think much of it and stayed home to play on her cell phone. But her most urgent problem was that a dog would live in the house. After all, small animals were hostile to people like her. After the night meal, Jack returned with the kids at around 10 p.m. He brought the kids to their grandma's room and went out to see Rick. "Rick, I need you to do me a favor." "What's it?" "Find a skillful driver and have him hit Chloe with a car tomorrow," Jack said clearly. "What?" Rick thought he had heard it wrong. Thanks for tuning in to the Cool Audio Podcast. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow story lover. Until next time, stay cool and keep listening.